everyone, today we're going to be learning about solving by completing the square. So if you recall, one way that we can solve quadratic equations is by finding square roots. And we can only use this method when we're missing that x term. So for example, for this problem, 5x squared plus 15 equals 35, I'm missing that x term, so I can solve this by finding square roots. So for example, for this one, I would subtract 15 from both sides first to get 5x squared is equal to 20. Divide both sides by 5 to get x squared is equal to 4. And then I take the square root of both sides to get that x is equal to plus or minus 2. Now let's look at some examples where we do have the x term. So what do we do in that case? Well, first let's look at some solving perfect square trinomials examples. And so for this, we're going to solve the equation by factoring the left-hand side, and then we're going to be taking square roots. So let's look at number 1. Number 1, I have x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 25. So I'm going to first factor that left-hand side. Here I have that my a is 1, so I'm just looking for two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to equal 4. Everything's positive, so I have 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 2 is 4. And so I see that my factors 2 and 2 multiply to 4 and add to 4. So I can change the left-hand side to be x plus 2 times x plus 2 is equal to 25. Well, x plus 2 times x plus 2, I'm really multiplying something by itself. And so I can actually rewrite this to say x plus 2 squared is equal to 25. And now to solve this, just like up here when we had x squared equals 4, to get rid of that square term, I take the square root since it's the inverse function. Here I can do the same thing. I can take the square root of both sides and get x plus 2 is equal to square root of 25, which is 5. But remember, when we take square root, we need plus or minus 5. And then I can subtract 2 from both sides. I get x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus 5. And so that means I have negative 2 plus 5 or negative 2 minus 5. And so my two answers are 3 and negative 7. Okay, let's look at this next one. Here I have x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 144. So I first want to factor the left-hand side, so I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 9, but then add to equal negative 6. So since I'm multiplying to a positive and adding to a negative, all my factors need to be negative, so I have negative 1 times negative 9, and then negative 3 times negative 3. So I see my answer here is negative 3 plus negative 3 equals negative 6. And so that means I can factor this left-hand side to be x minus 3 times x minus 3 is equal to 144. But here I'm multiplying the same thing twice, so that can be rewritten as x minus 3 squared is equal to 144. And now to get rid of that square, I can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. And so I have x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus square root of 144 is 12. Get x by itself, I can add 3 to both sides. So I get that x is equal to 3 plus or minus 12. So that means I have 3 plus 12 or 3 minus 12. Well, 3 plus 12, I get 15. 3 minus 12, I get negative 9. And so my two answers are x equals negative 9 and 15. Okay, let's look at one more. Here I have x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 49. So to factor the left-hand side, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 25 and add to equal 10. Well, my factors of 25 are 1 and 25, and 5 times 5. And so Here I see that 5 plus 5 also equals 10. So when I factor the left-hand side, I get x plus 5 times x plus 5 is equal to 49. I can rewrite that as x plus 5 squared is equal to 49. And now to get rid of that square, I can go ahead and take the square root of both sides. And so I'm left with x plus 5 is equal to plus or minus, the square root of 49 is 7. Subtract 5 from both sides. And so I get x is equal to negative 5 plus or minus 7. So I have negative 5 plus 7, or negative 5 minus 7. Well, negative 5 plus 7, I get 2. Negative 5 minus 7, I get negative 12. And so my two answers are x equals negative 12 and 2.